I give up. There's going to be one section of hair that is going to stay down. Just going to have to live with it. I'll survive. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Pickles. Hello, friend Ross. Hello, Nietzsche. Anastasia, good morning. I hope I'm saying that right. Marika, good morning. How are you? Mimics, good morning. What's up? Mimics joined with a beaver. Welcome. Welcome, Mimics. I love that. Trinkets. Trinket stroll or trinket troll? Trinkets troll. I love it either way. Ruby, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Okay, Loki, you want it? Loki. He was nice and quiet, and now he immediately grabbed you know who. He grabbed his friend so that he could play with his friend. Good morning, Sleek Styles. How are you? Good morning, good morning. I'm gonna let us kind of get started first, so feel free to share your shows and ask your questions. Rebecca, what's up? My husband I asked him to go out shopping before 10 a.m. so that he would be back before I started my show. Did he? No. I love him dearly, but he don't listen. Hello, champagne and lollipops. Trinkets says, my cat stays low until I stream, and then he's all up in my business. I know. What's up with that? Champagne and lollipops. Hello, good morning. Is it Jorge or your? I don't know. Thanks, Sleek Styles. I'm going with I'm trying to rotate my glasses a little bit more because I know I was getting stuck on the same glasses, but I think I've been wearing these glasses a lot. Dave from Alberta, good morning. Oh, I need to get more tea. My daughter got me this mug. Isn't it the best? Hopefully I don't sound like my mother, but I probably do. God help me. As long as I don't sound like her currently. Actually, mom's nonverbal now. Let's see. Where are we? Okay. So I'm going to make sure I have this muted so I don't screw that up. Morning, the Sassy Vintage Chicken, Idaho Flippers. Good morning. I know the joys of aging parents. Yeah, I need to go visit her. But honestly, I don't like visiting. I end up crying for a couple of days afterwards. So I don't handle it very well. I am not handling it. I don't know why I'm peeling this off now. Okay. So feel free to share your shows and ask your questions. This is a topic show today. I'm hoping that very soon my husband is going to come back and then I can start. Today I am focusing on talking about shipping. I will talk about other things that you would like to talk about, either before in the next few minutes, or after I finish with the shipping show. We're talking about shipping, and I am focusing on shipping for Canadian sellers. There are a lot of whatnot shows like the Sassy Vintage Chick, De-Archivist, the Hodgepodge Place, Michelle's Deals, where you can get reliable information on how to ship in the United States. I am of no help to you for shipping the United States. However, I still have information within my show that is applicable to all the world. It's just I am going to be talking about the Canadian side of some of the technical things. Friend Ross, it is true that it's difficult when you are the aging parent too. I'm in the middle. Muskoka Polka, what's up? And Michael 01, welcome in. Fragile, what's up? Good morning. Yes, thank you so much, Dave. So we are going to be talking about shipping. I'm going to go step by step, kind of like, so this is like a beginner level course for most of you. You already know this stuff. So feel free to add your own comments and suggestions in. We will be talking about a whole bunch of things where I'm going to be asking you for your advice and what you do. Second Troy, good morning. The Crazy Beat Lady, good morning. Once again, trying to activate ChitChats in my settings, or credit card. I don't know which one that is. I assume ChitChats. Hi, Second Troy. Yeah, so you need to go on the app. You go to your Seller Hub, then go to the menu. Closed captioning. Oh, closed captioning is if your iPhone or Android device, you want to go up to the very tippity top and like pull down. Yeah, so iOS, you want to pull down that settings menu, and then there's one that's called live captioning. I think it's what it's called. That's what I use. I know Whatnot has a feature somewhere, but I rely on the one that's already in the on my phone. I like the one on my phone, and then you don't have to worry that it's not working because it that like Whatnot's having trouble or it's glitching or something. Wonderland Shenanigans, welcome in, and Horror Vinyl. What a cool name. Good morning. Um, it's not on for me. Okay, but hopefully your phone. Thank you, Dave. Hopefully your phone would be able to do it. Crazy Bee Lady says, I heard last night in Melody about bundling for several shows. She said you had to be part of the beta group. Yes, it's a small beta group that's testing. I'm currently one of the testers. If you go to your wallet, which is over on this side, that's your right, my left. If you go over to your wallet, and you'll see there'll be a weekly bundling, and you can turn that on right there, and that will turn on weekly bundling. If you already did it in Melody's show, it should be turned on in my show too. Um, I don't think that there's a way of you can turn it off if you're in a show. Now, I'm not selling today because I'm doing community chat. I will have one thing that I'm going to run or show off because I'm going to be showing how to package breakable things. So I'm actually going to, yeah, vintage buyback Kelly Irish. I asked really, I asked you like, cause I test stuff. I'm normally part of the testing. So I did ask if I could pretty please be part of this testing too, so I can teach it. One of the really good points that hang on, yesterday, that the wonderful Whatnot Louise, who used to be part of Whatnot Canada, like he headed up Whatnot Canada last year and helped us all the way through strike stuff and advocated for us and was absolutely amazing and was part of that transition to Canadian dollars. He's now on another team. He got promoted because he deserves it. And he's now working also on this. And one of the things that he pointed out about weekly bundling is if you do giveaways, which I don't do a lot of giveaways, but if I did a giveaway and the person won, they've basically unlocked their weekly bundle of shipping for the entire week. So that one giveaway actually has lasting benefits for them, because if they do use weekly bundling, yeah. So so I might do more giveaways so that I can like explain weekly bundling and say, hey, like if you want to, you can get in on the giveaway. If you win the giveaway, you'll immediately unlock your weekly bundling because I will pay for the first part of your shipping, and then you just add stuff to the box as you go. Yeah, so it's like, but it isn't available for all Canadian sellers yet. And the US, they're not testing it at all. So, US sellers in the room, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to watch and wait and hope that we Canadians don't screw it up and that we do it right. So then you get it. We're the next guinea pigs. Um, they've been testing it for a few months now in Australia, Germany, and Austria. And it sounds like it's going really well. And basically, what it is it's an opt in. It's an opt in for sellers and it's an opt in for buyers. So, the one thing that I hear a lot from sellers is they get excited because they think if I do weekly bundling, then to I only need to ship once a week, and that is not the case. Um, if you only ship once a week to your buyers who want you to ship once a week. If your buyers haven't turned on weekly bundling and they buy something from you in a show, you need to ship that item. You can't wait until Sunday night to ship that item. Miss Poka asked, does weekly bundling turn off pickup? No, it doesn't turn off pickup. You can still select local pickup. You can offer local pickup and you can select local pickup. And I guess if you weekly, we're going to have to find out because I'm going to start doing more selling shows next week so I can test it out. So as far as I know, I guess you could weekly bundle your pickup. Yeah, your weekly bundle would then get picked up. So you could wait until you wouldn't have to go multiple times to go pick up your stuff. Although a lot of people do anyways. Trinkets Troll says, as a buyer, even if I've won a giveaway, sometimes I have to pay shipping. It's a small amount, like under $1 for additional items. Yes. So if you win a giveaway, you don't the seller pays for the shipping for that giveaway. So that first, if you haven't bought anything yet, the seller pays for the first like item, which the first item when you buy something on Whatnot, that first item's shipping is the high amount. And then after that, they're only adding little bits of weight to the box. So sometimes it won't cost you any more to buy like a 1 to 2 ounce item. And then it's going to cost you a bit for a 3 to 4 ounce item, and then a little bit more for a 1 to 2 pound item. So it all depends on where you live, how far away you are from the Whatnot seller that you're buying from, and then also what the weight of the item is. So yeah, um your if it was your if you'd already bought something and then you want to give away, the seller pays for this the added shipping into your box for that little extra weight for that item. So that might mean that instead of you paying 50 cents for winning Funko Pop or something, the seller pays the 50 cents extra. It all just depends on when you've won it. So that's why a lot of people run giveaways at the very beginning in order to unlock that shipping for your customers. Champagne and Lollipop says, if you are picking up, you have a week to pick up already. Yeah. So, but the clock wouldn't start, and we'll find out. This is a good question. The clock wouldn't start until Sunday. And then you'd have 7 days after Sunday to come pick up your big bundle. Brian Cat, welcome in. Is Whatnot going to explain this to buyers, because it is a huge advantage to them. Fragile, what they're doing is most the sellers that they're bringing on board for this beta testing, they are doing a little orientation with everyone to answer questions and explain the system and explain how to explain it. And they are recommending that as sellers, we constantly explain it during our shows and repeat. I talked about it in last week. I talked about the 10 mistakes that Whatnot sellers make. And one of them was not introducing yourself throughout your show. You need to, in your introduction, every few minutes, every half hour or so, you're going to get a new influx of folks coming in and out. And Daddy's home. So hang on 1 second. I'm going to mute this so you don't have to hear this. All right. Sorry. Now they can bark outside. Yeah, welcome in. Sorry, recently thrifty. It was just like it was three dogs all barking at once inside the house. So I had to mute it so that, because I can't stand it, so I'm sure you can't stand it too. All right, scrolling back up. So yeah, so Whatnot is teaching people who are testing this out how to talk about it, and for sure when it is rolled out, hopefully soon, when it's rolled out across Canada to all sellers, then there'll be some sort of explanation in an email and as well as on help.whatnot.com. If you want to learn more about it before then, you can go to help.whatnot.com and type in weekly bundling, and there's a huge FAQ that you can read that has lots of information. They just added some more information to it. They updated it on the 12th. So it has been updated again. So there's more information. I retain more when I do this. Okay. Okay. So welcome in again. Sorry. Who else has come in? Luffval, hello, and Collecto Cards, what's up? Okay, so we're going to talk shipping today. So feel free to ask your questions. If you want me to read what you have to say, put a question mark. I cannot stress that enough. Put a question mark if you want me to read what you have to say, because I'm about to switch so that I can only see questions. So that way I can kind of keep talking, and we're going to go step by step through how you set up your shipping, what you need to know about shipping, all the way through to sending the item out. So again, feel free to ask your questions. I will try to get as many questions as I can. And sometimes I might say, I'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll get to that too a little bit later. I don't mean to brush you off. I just want to kind of stick with my flow because it's easy for me to get squirrely. Is this on YouTube? That's a good question. Let's see if it's going live. Please, God, let it have gone live, because that will make my life so much easier if it has. Let's see. Go to me. Go to me. Oh, yes, I'm live. Yep, I'm live on YouTube. I did update my username on YouTube to try and be across all my social media the same, and I'm getting there. I'm doing like one at a time. And yeah, I will type it in. So on Rooster CA. So the Red Rooster CA is my name on YouTube and on Instagram. And I don't know if I updated it on Facebook yet. I might have. The elevator speech, if I do it throughout, I tend to retain more people on chat shows. It is true. Yeah, the elevator speech, which is introduce yourself, say a few words about what's happening, what's going on, what you're selling today, who you are, welcome them in, and then get back to selling. If once we have weekly bundling, you need to introduce yourself, talk about what you're selling today, and remind people that if they would like to use weekly bundling, they'll have to turn it on. And it basically keeps your box open. It's an opt-in, but it saves you a lot of money on shipping, because in every show this week, from now until Sunday, well, this week, not so much. Next week, pretend this is Monday. Every show this week until Sunday night, your box will stay open, and you can just add your items into the box throughout all of my shows. So I'm going to be updating all my shipping profiles because I changed them. So now I have to change them back again. I thought I read much earlier that the package had to be, oh, for fork's sakes. My husband has come home, left the door open, so we're heating the outdoors. The package had to be 13 by 13 by 13 centimeters, and it's now in inches. You might have been dreaming. Has anybody else seen it being in inches? Hopefully they did. That would be awesome if they did. I have been, we have all been nonstop complaining about that. So, all right, so let's get started. Welcome to my Shipping on Whatnot show for Canadian sellers, otherwise known as Oh Ship. I'm going to be talking about shipping, and I'm going to be breaking it down from before you even start listing to doing your show to finishing your show, and after you've shipped, all the steps all the way through. So it's not going to be a short show. So hold on to your socks. It's going to be a while. If you have a question or comment that you would like me to read, please put a question mark on it so it turns yellow so I can see it, because I've got that filter on right now so that I only see questions in front of my face, so I get less distracted by the chat. So anything else you want to say to each other and in between, just keep a question mark out of it and we should be fine. Okay, so I am going to be talking about Canadian specific realities. So if you're not a Canadian seller, there's going to be parts of it that are going to be boring. The Crazy Bee Lady says that Magnus My Marika just did 2 boxes yesterday and it was in centimeters. So it was, so it might have been too late last night and you were dreaming. It was probably in a dream, Linda. I would love it to become reality. But yeah, Magnus My Marika just did it. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Canadian specific realities for a lot of things, but there's a lot of information in here that anyone can use no matter where they live in the world when it comes to shipping. And again, we're going to be following the real seller workflow to discuss everything. So step by step. So first and foremost, step 1 in shipping on Whatnot is making sure you have the equipment that you need before you even start listing. So what do you need? You need measuring tape. Either one of these, you can get these cheap at like the dollar store. You can even get a little measure. Oh, son of a nutcracker! I dropped it already. Oh, vintage by Kelly Irish. Thank you for the tip. You were awesome. Or even one of these you can get at the dollar store. I've got like a few hundred of these, but everyone please follow Vintage by Kelly Irish. She is awesome. So just get one of these or one of these. And again, you can get these in a little sewing kit. So you get this and a sewing kit in case you lose a button or something for like a couple of bucks. So get one of these and get one of these. And then and then what do you need? You need a scale. You need a scale because you need to weigh things. So a scale like this, ideally one that has a hold button. This one doesn't have a hold button. I have a few because I have them all over the house because I list everywhere. So one of these, I even have one that was at a thrift store. It was one for Weight Watchers. It was a Weight Watchers one, but it went up to like 20 pounds or something. So I just got one of those. You want a mailing scale or like a smaller. You do not want, some people say, I use my home scale that I also weigh myself on. That'll work for big boxes. It's not going to work to figure out how much a t-shirt weighs. So you want something like this. You want to make sure that it has the different modes. All of them do. So a scale and extra batteries is always helpful. Make sure you have extra batteries on hand at all times, just in case, because Murphy's Law, you're just about to ship and then your battery dies and you can't use your scale. Yeah. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, if you can send it to me in messages, that would be awesome. If you saw it yesterday, maybe you got lucky. Mimic says I have a deli counter scale. That's awesome. I like that. A deli counter scale sounds yummy, actually. Okay, and you need boxes and packing material, which I'd lift up, but I'm not going to right now. Boxes and packing material, and I'm going to talk about how to pack in a bit. And you're going to need some packing tape for sure. And you're going to need a printer. Now, a lot of people use thermal printers. I love my thermal printer. I have two thermal printers, one upstairs, one downstairs. I love my thermal printer. It is awesome. It is awesome sauce. But you don't need to have a thermal printer. You can use an inkjet printer, a laser printer. Any printer, you just need a printer because you're not going to be able to write out yourself the UPC code, the scanning code, the barcode that they're going to need. So you need a printer of some sort. And you can find out more. Hang on, let me just show you for a second here. Wakey. If you go to help.whatnot.com, there's a whole section. When you go to the front part of, if you're at help.whatnot.com, if you scroll down, you're going to see buying, account, and then selling. If you go to selling, there we go. And you scroll down right there. They have an article on how to pack and ship your order, packaging guidelines, how to make a shipping adjustment, how to bundle or unbundle your items, how to manage your default label options, your label size and your return address, and how to generate and print shipping labels. And there are 47 articles about shipping on help.whatnot.com. So most of the information you're going to want to know is there. Boop. Okay, back we go. Some printers even have label slots in the paper tray. Check your printer; you might have it too. Yes, definitely. A lot of them do, or you can buy the label pages. But a piece of paper, you don't even need labels. You can print it off on a piece of paper and then just tape it on. Just make sure when you're taping the label on, if you've printed the label on paper, When you're taping the label on, you want to make sure that you do not cover with the tape the barcode, because the oftentimes the tape will reflect and make it harder for the barcode to be read. So just make sure you go around that. Yeah, and you can use label pouches too. I like to just tape it on when I use it. It's just a lot faster than fiddling with the label pouches. You can buy the label pouches. I also think they're extra. They're they're plastic, so I try to avoid. I mean, I know the tape is plastic too, so it's six of one, half dozen another. I think there's a little bit more plastic in the label holders, but you can also buy the label pouches to put it on. Can I see the orders and print labels from my phone, or do I need a laptop? You can use your phone's browser to go to seller.whatnot.com and see your shipments there and set everything up. You can do it from there. You just have to just use your phone's browser, and then as long as your phone is connected to a printer, you should be fine, because it will pop up the shipping the shipping label will pop up as a PDF. So you can save it to your phone and then print it off. So you don't have to use a laptop or a desktop computer if you don't want to. I do. I do. I switch. I'm used to that. I like it. I like having the big screen too. I think that's part of it. I hate having to like move around, right? Because there's like this section and this, but I have done it on my phone when I've needed to, when I quickly just needed to make labels and I didn't want to have to go all the way upstairs to get on the laptop, because I had moved the laptop upstairs. So you can totally use your phone. You don't have to have a desktop or a laptop to do so. As long as your phone has a browser, which I don't know a phone that doesn't have some sort of browser. Chrome is the ideal. Um, what the Whatnot website is optimized for Chrome. So if you can download Chrome to your device, Android or Android's already on there, but if you have an iPhone, I would add or an iPad, I would add it to your Microsoft whatever's, you know what I mean. You can get the pouches free from Canada Post, or them online, a pack of 100. Yes, you can get those plastic pouches to put your paper labels in, and you can get them free from Canada Post. One of the very few things that Canada Post will give you for free. Okay, so um, obviously also a pen. A pen is important. A pen is always important to have. Um, and that's your basics. That's your basics. Okay. That's the things you definitely need. You definitely need measuring tape. You definitely need a scale. We're talking, yeah, Mia Vita, we will talk about that later. But the things that are must haves are measuring tape, digital scale, boxes and packing materials, or um, poly mailers, whatever it is that's for this type of thing that you sell. Packing tape, printer, and paper adhesive labels. That's your top. Um, uh, so after you've done that, you've got your equipment ready and you've set yourself up on Whatnot. You have to choose a shipping provider. And one more thing before we talk about that, your default label options, you can find out more information at help.whatnot.com. You should set that up. So if your printer you're going to print on 8.5 by 11 paper, you can set that up so that the Whatnot system knows that you're using 8.5 and 11 by 11 paper, and it will give you the appropriate size PDF file for you. So if you go to help.whatnot.com, look for the seller area, look for shipping, and then look for default label options so that you can change label size. Also, your return address. And this is a safety thing that I want to talk about very briefly. My recommendation is that you get a PO box if you can afford to, or some alternative address rather than your home address being shown on your return label. So most of the time, if you order from me, you are going to see the address for the post office where the address for the post office. So that's what I use. I use the address of the post office because that's where I pick up my mail anyways. So it isn't inaccurate. and it has my PO box on it. We have no choice in the matter. I have to have a PO box where we live, so it doesn't cost me any extra. But I would recommend, for safety reasons, using a PO box if you can afford to, just because the 99.9% of the people you're going to encounter on Whatnot are perfectly fine and normal. But there's that little teensy tiny percent that it's best to be safe, and not give out your home address if you can help it. Okay, so that's that. So you can go to help.whatnot.com. You can get a free flex address from Canada Post. It gets delivered to the post office. There you go. According to Mia Vita, Magnus Wembrika says, I have a flex delivery address, but Whatnot won't accept it. Maybe you have to rewrite it some way. You might have to see if there's a way of rewriting it, or see if it can be direct. Talk to your local post office and find out what they can do. They might be able to do something. Okay, we talked about that. So help.whatnot.com. We've talked about default label options, setting up your label size on your printer. You can find out more information how to do that at help.whatnot.com. I'm not going to take you through that because the step-by-step instructions are on help.whatnot.com. And so next thing we're going to talk about is a Canadian thing. It's choosing a shipping provider. When you go to your shipments on Whatnot, so you go to your seller hub on Whatnot, which is down at the bottom in the middle, go to seller hub, and then you go to the menu and you choose shipments. It's going to say select your shipping provider. You have two choices. You can either ship with Canada Post or you can ship with ChitChats. The price difference, because now that we're not shipping using Canada Post or ChitChats to the United States because of the removal of de minimis, the difference in price between Canada Post and ChitChats is close to the same for most people in Canada. There are some differences where ChitChats is actually more expensive to buy a label from than it is Canada Post, because ChitChats uses Canada Post for final mail delivery in a lot of rural and remote areas. So basically, the label that's bought is you buy the ChitChats part, and then you have to also technically buy the Canada Post part, right? So I yeah, like pickles, exactly. So I suggest, I mean, you can like mull it over in your head all you want. It's up to you. You decide what's best for you and your business. Choose what works for your business and your life. Because if go to chitchats.com, look up where they have drop off locations, and very importantly, the hours and any restrictions of those drop off locations. If you live in the Maritimes, there's drop off locations in New Brunswick, I think PEI, Nova Scotia, not Newfoundland and Labrador. But they're bus terminals, and you pay an extra fee to have the bus company take your box full of shipments to Bedford Bay, Nova Scotia, to be processed at the ChitChats location. So that's an additional cost that you need to consider. They also have pickup and everything else, but you know what? To be honest, if you've got, now that we're out of the woods of Canada Post strike, use what works best for your business. Consider your time, your gas, and the hours. Like, how long is it going to take you to do this? Where could you be spending that money instead? So time is money. If it takes you half an hour to drive to a ChitChats location, or take the bus to a ChitChats location, and then a half an hour back, and it's not on your regular route to, say, go to work or whatever, then it's probably better for you to find the closest Canada Post location instead, because time is money. The cost of driving there or taking the bus to go there, and then that time as well. Think about how many listings you could list in an hour if you weren't driving back and forth. When I'm about to create a label, I can't switch between Canada Post and ChitChats. No, they discourage that. I said groovy, if you've selected ChitChats as your as as your provider, then that's how your labels are going to print out. That's how they will be generated. If you select ChitChats, that's how they're going to generate for that show. You can change between ChitChats and Canada Post. So say you know that you're doing a show on Tuesday, and you know on Thursday you're going to be driving right past the ChitChats location when they're open, and you've got time to drop it off. Then on your Tuesday show, you could switch it to ChitChats for that show. But again, it really is six of one, half dozen another. For most Canadian addresses, it's not a significant discount for your customers. Um, so pick what's most convenient to you. If you like using ChitChats and it's close to you and it works for you, great. But I want you to also consider how much time you're spending that could be used for other things to sell on whatnot to make more money. Reasonably Thrifty says my ChitChats locations are 5-hour round trip. My very first trip to one of the two locations, my car was totaled, and three of them. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, don't do that again. Please don't do again. Please stay safe. Um, so you need to do that again to select your provider. As a Canadian seller, to choose your shipping provider, you go to your seller hub on your phone, and you select the menu and then shipping, and then pick which one you want. I said Groovy says I've done 6 shows so far and I've always had trouble creating labels because glitches. I would have liked to have the option to switch. Like to switch after you've already done your show. The thing is that Whatnot charges your customer, when you sell the item, charges the customer based on which shipping provider you've already selected. So if you switch afterwards, there's going to be shipping adjustments. Maybe they won't be. So say you had ChitChats and then you decided, no, I want Canada Post instead. There might be shipping adjustments, and you would end up eating those costs, if you've gone over your 5 free shipping adjustments, right? If they allowed it, but they don't. They're trying to avoid people switching back and forth after. You can switch when you're doing a show. So you can do one show in the morning and say, I'm going to go Canada Post, and you can do another show in the afternoon, and that's ChitChats. That's totally up to you if you want to do that. I don't know why you would, but you have that flexibility if you wanted to. But they really don't want you to be constantly contacting them, asking them to change the label to another provider. Okay, step 3 is the shipping decision you need to make when you create a listing. And this, I cannot stress how important this is. I'm first going to talk about how you figure out how much something weighs. Now, oh, here it is. Okay, so I have this. I'm going to pin it. Okay, I have this piece. This is actually the second one of these I've ever shown on Whatnot. I sold the first one to Vintage Zinnia. This one has a little chippy poo right there. Please note, in case you want to buy it. As well as the other call out is there's an error when it came out of the mold. Actually, not when it came out of the mold. When it came off of being glazed. There's a little spot here that's missing glaze. It also looks like a mold error too. But it's a really great piece of Quebec art craft. Now, this beautiful piece of Quebec art craft, how much do you think it weighs? Everyone guess, how much do you think this weighs currently? And then we'll find out. Magnus by Marika says 15 ounces. Millicent, hi Millicent, says 1 pound. I said Groovy says 1.2 pounds. Reasonably Thrifty says 14.8 ounces. I love that. Mia Vita says 1 pound. And Debbie, like in this, says 1 pound. Okay, let's find out. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So let's see. Switch to ounces. It is 17 ounces. So I said Groovy was the closest at 1.2 pounds, but yeah, it's 17 ounces. Now, if I was to select my shipping and said, I'm going to select because it's 17 ounces, that's 16 ounces is a pound. So 17 ounces is over a pound. So my immediate thought would be 1 to 2 pounds, right? But I'm actually gonna show you how to wrap things. So we're gonna wrap this and we're gonna see how much it weighs, because you should never use raw weight. So this I just weighed at 17 ounces on the dot is the raw weight. It is not the hi Q gems. This isn't this isn't the shipped weight. This is the raw weight. So let's quickly do a demonstration of how Kim wraps stuff. Now you're not going to wrap everything up before you list. Like you're not going to like try and list and wrap it all up. I mean, I guess you could. I mean, I know some people do that. All right, so I always start with tissue paper. So we got our tissue paper. Why do I always start with tissue paper? A lot of people don't know that if you put bubble wrap up against items that are painted or glazed directly against it, the condensation in between the two, which happens even if you think it's a completely dry environment, the condensation during shipping can actually damage the glaze. The plastic gets stuck because it's just plastic, right? Okay, so I got that. I always put a layer of paper. This is not going to be the prettiest I've ever done. I always put a layer of paper next. And then, whoo, it's going to get some bubble wrap. I'm not doing this as pretty as I normally would. Far from pretty. Do with a lot more to it. I'm just doing it quickly. All right, bubble wrap. I need some tape. Tape. Bubble wrap. Check. Bubble wrap. I would usually add more paper too. And then you got your box. I had managed to see this box, and I thought it might work. So, yeah, we're going to stick that in there. And I'm going to show you how to resize this in a second. But, okay, so I would add some more paper to this. So give me some more, couple pieces of paper to go around this. So this would probably have at least 2 more pieces of paper on it. We'll add that in there. All right, now I'm going to weigh it. How much do you think it weighs now that I've wrapped it and it's in the box and it's ready to go? How much do you think it weighs now? And I'm going to switch it to pounds so that we can know for sure. Hang on. I've done 6 shows so far, and I've always had trouble creating. Oh, sorry. You already said that. I said groovy. All right, fell off. Hang on. All right. We've got 19 ounces, 2.3 pounds, 2 pounds, 2.4 pounds, 2.2, 2.6. Okay, it is actually only, for some reason, which sounds a little weird. Hang on. Tear. Maybe I didn't do this right. It is 1 pound, 12.9 ounces. So it's still under 2 pounds. So this would go in the 1 to 2 pound category. I actually would probably pick 2 to 3 pounds to be on the safe side, because I would wrap it. I would actually use a bigger box than this, and I'll tell you why in a second. But there you go. So you want to make sure that you add. So it went from 17 ounces to, oops, hang on, mode ounces. So we went from 17 ounces to 28.9 ounces. So the box weighs a lot. The paper, the wrapping that you do weighs a lot. Even though it's bubble wrap, it still weighs extra. So you want to make sure that when you're doing your listings that you don't select the shipping profile that's at what it is without it being shipped. And again, as you start to ship more and more on Whatnot, you will start to know just by the feel of things whether it's going to need extra weight or if it's okay the way it is. Obviously, if you're doing books and clothing and that, there isn't a lot of extra weight that gets put into your packaging, right? So it all depends on what you're shipping, how much extra weight you need to add on for your shipped weight. But always think packed and ready to ship is the weight that Whatnot wants you to put in the shipping profile on your listing. Um, a slightly higher weight is always safer than going underweight because an underweight could create a shipping adjustment and you only get 5 free shipping adjustments per week. It ends on Sunday, starts again on Sunday. I said Groovy says I learned the hard way on my second show. I had adjustments for all my orders. Yeah, and I've had shows where I've had adjustments on every single order because not because of my weight, but because of the size of the box. Now we're going to talk about custom shipping profiles. If you want to use a custom shipping profile, I'm going to talk you through how a custom shipping profile works. Please note that a custom shipping profile creates a custom box, and that box um, is just for items. It opens up a box that's just for items with that custom shipping profile. So you can't mix in your show. If you mix different shipping profiles, your buyer is going to be paying for a different box. Custom shipping profiles they're going to be paying for a different box. Whatnot doesn't bundle things into multiple custom shipping profiles because the computer doesn't know which one you really want, right? So if you're going to do a show with a custom shipping profile, all of your items in your auction and your buy it now need to use that custom shipping profile. Otherwise, your buyer is going to be buying 2 boxes. They're going to be paying for shipping of 2 boxes instead of just one. And I've made that mistake. When I first did custom shipping profiles, I did a custom shipping profile for different weight categories, thinking it would work just the same. And no, I ended up with like 6 different ones. Magnus Mamrika says my box yesterday was 22 ounces calculated items. I had to change to 25 actual weight. Additional $4.23 used a free adjustment. Yeah. The Vaz is not running a custom shipping profile. The Vaz is on Whatnot's profile. I said Groovy, thank you for the tip. You are awesome. I love you. Everyone, please follow I said Groovy. So we're going to do a custom shipping profile now. Are y'all ready? New sellers do get the terminology confused. Yes, absolutely. Yes, the shipping is normalish. And I haven't decided, to be honest, what I'm going to do when it comes to the weekly bundling. I need to find out some more information first. So I'm going to go back to for the first couple of weeks, unless I get dinged with really bad shipping adjustments. For the first couple of weeks, I'm going to be using just Whatnot's shipping profiles, which means I have to go into every single listing and change it. It's going to be fun. I love it. It's the best thing ever. Not but you know it is what it is. Okay, so let's create a quality listing of ooh, come here, guy. I don't know who you are. Boop. Complete. We're just gonna. What are we gonna call him? Hair products. When did I do hair products? Other toys. We're just gonna call it other toys. That'll do. His name is Bob from Star Wars. I'm sure he has another name like what a boo boo something. I don't know. Anyways, Funko. You know. There we go. Funko. You know. Auction starting bid. 5 whole doll hairs. 4 whole doll hairs. Okay. Shipping profile. We're now going to create. Why do you need to change the? Why do I have to change the shipping on each listing, Mia Vita? Because I switched everything over to custom shipping profiles, and so I have to undo all of that. That's why I have to do that. You don't have to do that if you haven't if you have custom shipping profiles on things and then you don't want to use those custom shipping profiles on things, you have to change all those listings, which I will do. Okay, so how to create a custom shipping profile. I apologize for the fact that my phone has a big across it. Now, there is step-by-step instructions also at help.whatnot.com, and I highly recommend you go there and not just use this video as your guide, but go to help.whatnot.com, read that, and then come back here on YouTube, because this will be on YouTube later. You can come back to my YouTube, watch this again, and I don't know what it's 11:14, so about 50 minutes into the show, you can come back to that part, and we can talk about and you can see how to do custom shipping profiles step by step. Some people like to read, some people like to watch. So if you see here, there's a little, it's hard to see, but it says create new profile. You'll have to believe me. So you're going to create a name for it. So we're going to call this the Funko box, the box Funko, box oh Funko, box oh Funko. Okay. And the weight. So yes, you can add dimensions. So I will show you how to do that. I list everything with the approximate weights, so I should be good with the weekly shipping option correct. Mia Vida, I don't know for sure. I don't know. We're going to find out because this is all new to us. So you should be fine. Yes. It just depends on how big your box gets for people, right? Because our default shipping box size is 13 centimeters by 13 centimeters by 13 centimeters if you live in Canada, which for our US viewers is about 5 inches cubed. It's not a very big box. The Funko Pop won't even freaking fit in that. A box Funko Pop is bigger than that. Okay, so this guy weighs 3.5 ounces as he is. I'm going to double that in order to ship him because a sturdy box weighs a fair amount. In fact, I'm going to triple you. So I'm going to triple you. So I'm going to say he's like 10, 11, I would go 12 to 15 ounces. So we're going to say each one is, the first one is, so a box of Funko. The first item that goes into the box, which includes the box, the weight of the box, right? So if you have, we're going to use the size of this box. Okay. This is going to be my standard box for filling up with a whole bunch of Funko Pops. I'm doing a Funko Pop show and I'm going to sell a whole bunch of Funko Pops and I want people to buy the Funko Pops and I'm going to put all the Funko Pops into here. So I know that I have, or say this is, you can think of clothing, jewelry, whatever is your thing. Figure out a base size for a box that would fit the average amount of like the higher end of where buyers buy from you, the number of items they buy. Okay. So I'm going to use this size box and I got this buddy and I pretend that he's in here. I'm going to count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can fit 9 of these into this box. So I'm going to say, and the first, so I've got my buddy and I've got his wrapping. So I'm going to add another 3. I'm going to add another 4 ounces for his wrapping. The box plus my buddy is 20 ounces. So I'm going to do 24 ounces for the first item because that's the box plus my buddy. And then, so you do that first. You name it, name the shipping profile, and then you're going to put the first item with the box. You put that in. First item with the box. What's the weight of that? Then right here, you're going to set the maximum number of items in the box. And this is where you put your dimensions. So you turn that on. When you turn that on, this stuff will pop up. So I said that 9 of these guys will go into one box. So I'm saying the maximum number of items that a buyer can buy that will go into one box before they have to pay for another box to ship is 9 items, which is for a Funko Pop show. I think nine Funko Pops is a pretty good number for selling. So I've got 9 items, and then we have to do the size. That's the dimensions right here. So that's where I actually have to measure it. Here we go. Please hold. Somebody will be with you shortly. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Starting with, I'm going to do it in centimeters because it's more accurate. 40 centimeters by 30 centimeters by 22.5 centimeters. 40, 30, 22.5. Okay, so then I go here and no. 40, 30, 22.5 centimeters. So I've put that in. That's the box. Now, what's the fixed weight? Set a fixed weight for each additional item that goes into the same package. So the first Funko Pop that someone buys to go in this box is going to be 24, what did I say? 24 ounces. That's the box plus the packing material and the Funko Pop in that box. And then each one after that, because a Funko Pop weighs 3.5 ounces on average. And then I'm going to add for packing material around it for a loose Funko Pop that's out of its box. Add packing material around it. Then 3.5, I'm going to double it. So I'm going to say it is 7 ounces. So I pick 7 ounces. You can do grams, you can do pounds, you can do kilograms, whatever works for you. As you can see, 7 ounces. And now save and publish. And now I have my first list. I have my custom shipping profile is saved. I have a new custom shipping profile that's for Funkos. And now let's pin that. What's the weight on that for you guys? How much difference is that? Because it's 24 ounces, which is in the 1 to 2 pound category. I better look at my phone to see your answers because I can't see them here. 1110 shipping to Ontario. That's not too bad at all, is it? That's not too shabby at all. Let's switch. Let's switch to. Let's pin that. What is that one now, Marika? 17.18 for pickles. Is the Quebec Art Craft green vase more or less? Okay, so it is more for. Oh, interesting, for $13.75. So this is 2 to 3 pounds. Let me just edit. I'm going to go in and edit this. Hang on. Because I think one of the things people worry about with a custom shipping profile is that putting in a big box that they may not end up using is going to be you're going to be overcharging your customer. And I hear that a lot. People are worried about overcharging their customer for shipping. But let's just do it. I'm now changing it to, I'm going to unpin it, then I'm going to pin it again. Now it is 1 to 2 pounds. So what do you see now? 1272, 1230, 2037. Interesting. Very interesting. So it's $2 less, $16. Snakes and Ladders, you're in Cavan. My family is from Cavan. My dad's in Ida, 6 feet under, but he's up in Ida. Oh, Rachel, hi. Hello. You already know this information. So shut up, Cam. I've already told you. So that's not bad. 1272, but this one's my custom shipping profile at 24 ounces with a bigger box. And what is that? I think that went down, right? That's less. 17, 18, 11, 10. So $2 less. So it's $2 less. I wonder if. Hang on. Minimize show. Go to Seller Hub. Go to menu. Go to shipping. You have 11 profiles. Okay, show me the one that is Boxo Funko. I'm going to change Boxo Funko, so 32. I'm going to change it to 32. Okay, that should actually have changed Bob to match. So let's go look. Let's go look at what Bob is now. Account, there we are. I'm going to unpin it. I don't know why Mia Vita is cheaper. Let's see. I'm going to unpin Bob and then repin Bob. Okay, so what is Bob now? 1272. So now Bob does match 1272. Okay. Versus, so is Bob higher or the same as this? Is it the same or higher? I feel like we're at the eye doctor. Is this better or worse? Is this one better or worse? So Shop with Danny says it's higher for the vase. How weird is that? How really weird is that? Um, it's higher. It's higher for the vase. Does that make any sense? That is so weird. That's 1 to 2 pounds. The vase is 1 to 2 pounds. That is so weird. See? Dear Whatnot. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? Yeah, I have it as 1 to 2 pounds. And that's a smaller box size. Make that make sense. Or is it the other way around? Is this one higher? Is that what you guys are saying? This one's higher, right? Just need to confirm. Yeah. So this one, which is Whatnot's profile, which is 32 ounces, which is a small box size, is actually more than this one, which is a bigger box, but the same weight for the. All right. Yeah, because I did. Let me just make sure. I did edit it to box of Funko. Yep, 32 ounces. Select, save change. Just going to double check. Okay. Is Bob still the same? Boop, boop, boop. This is Canada. This is Canada Post pricing. So the vase 7. So the Funko is now the same. The Funko just wasn't showing it properly. That's why. Okay. So as you can see, it should be the same now. So this is the regular Whatnot box, which is 13 by 13 by 13 centimeters, and the same weight. And then this one is the same weight, but it is a 40 centimeter by 30 centimeter by 22.5 centimeter box. And it's now the same. So, yeah. So, if you're worried about using a custom shipping profile because you're thinking, I'm going to be charging my customer too much for shipping, I say to you, yes, maybe the additional item, each additional item they put in, they might be paying like 25 cents or 20 cents more, but you are avoiding adding to your possibility of having to use up all of your shipping adjustments. So that is why I like custom shipping profiles. I will be going away from custom shipping profiles to test the weekly bundling using Whatnot's regular things. DJE asked, can we ship in large envelopes if we sell handmade goods? And how does that work in terms of sizing and price? So DJE, what you would do is you would weigh that. You can use envelopes, absolutely, if that works for you. I've shipped in envelopes as long as the item is going to arrive in one piece. So make sure you've reinforced things. So, you want to put, if, yeah, it's all about the size. So if you use an envelope like this is definitely, right, 13 centimeters. If you use Whatnot's profile, 13 centimeters gets you that far. That far. This is just across the width here is 23, 20, just over 23. So this definitely would be an adjustment. Now, if it costs, so here's the thing. Sometimes when you do an adjustment and you do have to put in the correct weight and the correct dimensions. Magnus Margarita says, I did envelope shipments for stickers, adjustment of $2.96 per envelope. Yeah, because if your envelope is bigger in any direction than 13 centimeters in any of the it's not just 13 by 13 by 13, like that's the volume that you're allowed to have. No, if it goes 13 by 20, um, yeah, so Magnus Marika has made her own 13 by 13 by 13 centimeter boxes, so she has no adjustments. But the thing is that there may be no additional cost for those adjustments sometimes because the weight's lower than the weight that the customer paid for, or the distance, the cost. It's all about the actual cost and whatnot to buy that label for you. They've done an estimate and charged your customer based on the information that you gave them about weight. Um, Reasonably thrifty says, if my shipping weight is too high and I lower it, does that count towards a shipping adjustment? So reasonably thrifty, if you put in say 3 items at 1 to 2 pounds, but it actually, so which would be 6 pounds, and then it's actually weighs less and doesn't cost, even if you have a slightly bigger box, doesn't cost any more than what the buyer already paid for shipping, then there will be no shipping adjustment. The shipping adjustment is about, does this does this package cost more to ship than what we've already charged the buyer for? So Whatnot asks that question each time. And if it's going to cost more, that's a shipping adjustment. If it's not going to cost more, if the amount of money already paid by the buyer is going to cover the cost of the label, um, regardless of weight or dimensions, then there will be no shipping adjustment needed, because it's a label cost adjustment. Think of it that way. They call it a shipping adjustment, but think of it as a label cost adjustment. Use that terminology instead. Yes, you can lower the weight on your order. When you go, or Martin, when you go to ship, you should always go in to seller.whatnot.com, and go to edit, unless you are actually using a 13 by 13 by 13 centimeter box and your weight is dead on. You should always make an adjustment, um, especially if it's if the weight is going to be higher than what the buyer is paid for, what it says there, you need to make sure that you make that adjustment, because Canada Post is cracking down on these. And in the States, they're cracking down so much that there's a lot of buyer complaints because they are receiving postage due. The buyers are receiving postage due from Whatnot orders, and getting really upset, as they should, as they totally should. Um, Reasonably thrifty says, that's what someone was telling me to set some items higher, and now that I hear you, yeah, your shipping total weight, not your raw weight. Think of, it's always like, think of it as raw or naked, if you want to, if that makes you remember it more, the naked weight versus the dressed and ready to go weight. Whatever makes you remember it, is you need to weigh it as if it's already in the box ready to go. Think of it that way. So one of the things that I used to do when I first started on Whatnot and I wasn't sure, what I literally did was, I'd have a sample box. I have a sample box like this, a little bit smaller because this one's fairly heavy. So something more like this. I would have a sample box like this, or and I would put that on the scale and I would weigh that. And then I would then get my item and I would have a little basket. And one of the cool things that, some people probably know this. One of the cool things about a scale is it has this little, all the scales will have this button, tare, depending on how you want to say it, and it will take your number to 0. I'm holding it up, so the number's not going to go to 0 because it's still measuring. But it will take it to 0. So you can put a basket on there, and then put your items on. Put your basket on, press the tear button so it goes to 0. Then you put your items on. And what I used to do was I used to take like some pieces of paper and I'd put that on there. And then I'd take some paper that was for wrapping and I'd put that on there. And I would weigh it all without having to wrap it all up. I would just do a quick estimate and then I would add a little bit more for safety reasons. How DJE asked, how can we predict how much someone will buy? So if they buy 1 item versus 10, same shipping. So if you use, so outside of custom shipping profiles, you don't need to worry. Whatnot will bundle all of the items that a buyer purchases in your show into one box. and then you will be shipping out with that one box. Right now, it's the box size that is the issue. But for most people, if you're starting out, you'll just use up your 5 free shipping adjustments, and you should be fine. If you are scaling up your business, then you may want to consider using a custom shipping profile to help eliminate your risk of having shipping adjustments. So that's pretty much it. So that's custom shipping profile. Again, step-by-step instructions and more information is available at help.whatnot.com. And that's where I would suggest to start, is at help.whatnot.com. Look up custom shipping profiles, see the step-by-step. Then you can always come back here to about the 50-minute mark in my show and be able to kind of watch how we do custom shipping profiles. They are, once you do a custom shipping profile, you can use it across all of your shows, if you sell similar items. So if I was only selling jewelry, a custom shipping profile would be great, because I can say, the average box size for when I do a clear out jewelry show, the average box size is about this, full of jewelry. So that would be the box size that I would use. But for the beginning, as a beginning seller on Whatnot, I recommend sticking with Whatnot's shipping profiles. It'll be easier for you, with less room for error. Yeah, thank you, Pickles. Help.whatnot.com is where you want to go to find out more information about custom shipping profiles. Okay, so you've created your items, you've got your shipping profiles on your items, and you're ready to go. And you do your show, you go live, you do your show. During the show, every time you sell an item on Whatnot charges the customer the whole amount for the item price, the shipping cost, and any taxes. Happens as soon as the auction ends or they hit buy it now, they get charged for all of it. And then as a customer keeps adding more items to their box, think of it like the first item they do is their box, then they're going to add items to it. So sometimes the next item they buy is going to be 0. And then the one they buy after that is going to be 50 cents. And then if they buy something really heavy, it might be $1.50 or $2.50 to add to the box. So if you use Whatnot's profiles, the profiles that they've already got created, instead of using custom shipping profiles, Whatnot will keep just predicting and adding a little bit more of weight to your box as you go. Weekly bundling shipping costs to buyer will be adjusted and charged to buyer. Really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I will look that up later. Debbie liking this says, most of my boxes are 12 by 12 by 12 inches, about 9 pounds. So maybe custom would be better for me. Yeah, if you found that you have a pattern, as you start to sell more on Whatnot, you're going to see that you have a pattern of like, this is the usual number of items that get purchased in a show per customer. And this is the weight. And that's how I did some of my custom shipping profiles, was I looked at past shows, and looked at the weights and then determined it that way. So I still believe, dear Whatnot, that Canada needs to have a larger box size. The 13 centimeter box size is insane in the membrane. Just saying. Just saying. Okay, let's unpin Bob. Hang on. Unpin Bob. I know he's not Bob from Star Wars. Okay, so what's up next on my list? Good morning, Vintiquity. After the show ends. So after the show ends, you can go to seller.whatnot.com and you can see all of the shipments that you have to ship out. It will show you the name of the buyer, the weight of the number of items that they purchased, and the weight. And then there's a drop down menu right beside the person's username. You drop down that and it will show you each one of the orders that they made. So each item is called an order. So each order in their box. Whatnot Help told me 13 by 13 by 13 was in compliance with, oh, well, ignore that. I don't know what that means. That's weird. It's not in compliant. It's just a number they came up with because they were trying to keep costs lower for card sellers. That's my personal opinion. That hasn't been backed up by whatnot. Yes, I will talk about that, Marika. I'm getting there. I've just gotten to the shows. Your show's ended, and now it's time to ship. So you go to seller.whatnot.com, and it's time to pack your order. And Whatnot has, sorry, hang on a second. Whatnot has this great switch, has actually got a video that shows you how to do it and where to look. And as you can see, this person bought these 2 items. So you go to you can watch this video. It shows you exactly how to get to your seller hub, what to do, how to go to your shipments. Booyah, it's currently in beta testing and they just started beta testing. So it'll probably be a few weeks before you'll have to do it. So all of your information is there. So if you want to, you can go to Seller Academy, selleracademy.whatnot.com or help.whatnot.com to find that video, which is how to pack and ship. And it takes you all the way through it. Whatnot timeline and responsibilities is that they would like it if, hey Nat, if you ship within 2 business days of the sale. Sometimes that's not going to be possible. Sometimes you're going to be able to do it faster than that. But keeping your shipping times reliable, the longer your shipping times are, if you have long shipping times, you will actually be reduced in discoverability. So the short shipping times are part of what makes you more visible. So having a short shipping time not only is great for your customer, but it's also great for you because more people are going to see you because Whatnot appreciates sellers who ship fast. So buyers pay for the shipping by default at the time of sale. Unless you've done a giveaway, then the seller pays for a giveaway. You must use Whatnot generated shipping labels. There is a bring your own label system that will be in place for a little bit longer on Whatnot Canada, but it's not going to last too much longer. So I'm not going to go into it because also it is more expensive than what Whatnot labels are. So it is because you have to use UPS or FedEx. So I don't recommend even doing that. Make sure that you're shipping securely, and we're going to talk about that. But you go to seller.whatnot.com to review your shipments. So you can sign into Whatnot, or you can just type in seller.whatnot.com and then go to shipments page in the seller hub. And then you'll see what needs to be, they'll actually come up with your last show and all the things that need a label. And then make sure that you look first for any cancellation requests, because there'll be a little asterisk warning icon and you can approve or deny those. That is your choice. I recommend you just approve them and let it go. Approve or deny them before you print the labels. Orders from the same buyer will be bundled automatically. But you can also manually bundle and unbundle items, and you can learn more about unbundling and bundling at seller.whatnot.com. At help.whatnot.com. And then you're going to package up your items. You're going to have a list on seller.whatnot.com under shipments. You're going to package up your items safely and securely, which we will talk about. You confirm your weights and dimensions, and then you adjust that by going to, there's a little icon that looks like a pencil. You're going to use that to do your edits and adjustments. Now, how to package your shipments securely. So I showed you that I packaged up this item. Now, this wasn't my best shipping work ever. I just did it very quickly so I could show you. Some of the ways, if you have breakable items, one of the ways to ensure that the bubble wrap is going to securely protect your breakable items inside, I use, sorry for the sound effects. I use shrink wrap instead of using packing tape to tightly wrap, not too tight, but securely wrap my items so that the bubble wrap is hugging every nook and cranny and nothing can get loose. Now, why do I use this stuff? I'm not standing up right now, so I'm not doing it as fast as I normally do. Why do I use this stuff instead of packing tape? First and foremost, I have broken many things that I've bought on Whatnot trying to get through the very tightly wrapped with packing tape bubble wrap. Packing tape isn't easy to extricate from bubble wrap, so you end up using scissors and blunt force trauma in order to try and get the darn bubble wrap off of your item, and in the process you could damage it. Also, from an environmental point of view, I get it, this is plastic, but this item is very secure, and when this person unwraps it, see how I put a little thing so you can find the end? That's important. Make sure you make the end easy to find. When someone unwraps this, the bubble wrap's going to be reusable. The bubble wrap isn't damaged in any way. When you use packing tape to tightly wrap bubble wrap around an item, you've basically just destroyed the bubble wrap. It's so hard to reuse that bubble wrap, and I try my best. I'm not going to test through it. No way. I love this piece too much. I love this piece. So this is a really good investment. As you can see, I'm getting down on this one. It comes, you can get this on a whole bunch of places. Rage at packing tape and bubble wrap. Yes. So I use this. I use this stuff. I bought 4 rolls of this. Not this, like last Christmas. So Christmas 2024, just before Christmas 2024, I bought a whole pack of six rolls of this. I've got like 3 more left. So this stuff lasts for a long time. It is awesome. And you just want to make sure you put a little tail on it. Sometimes I put a sticker to hold it in place, or some sort of tape so that the buyer can see it so they know where to start. Because that's also a frustrating thing. I've had them wrapped up and I have no idea where I'm supposed to start. But this way, I've seen where you can just and then unwrap it. So this is really important. Then you put it into your box. So you want to make sure that when you're putting items into a box, that there is plenty of space between the box and your item, even if it's bubble wrapped. And do you know why? Do the squish test. Now, this is a really good secure box, so it's pretty good. But if you do the squish test and you can squish in and push on that item at all, then guess what? When it's in transit and there's another heavier box on top of it, this is going to get squished. You don't want that. So you want to make sure that there's space in between, so then when it gets squished in transit, because it'll get squished in transit, that it's not going to squish into right up against the item. So like right now, this was not my best packing job. I can put my hand down and I can feel it. Vintigre says, when you receive the package from Kim, you have the jar ready to unroll the shrink wrap and use in your future shipments. Yeah, you can reuse all my stuff, please. Debbie liking this says, the cost for packing supplies is so high. I have to raise my items $1 to $2 more. If you need, yeah, that's a cost of doing business, and if like anywhere else in the world, the cost of doing business is added. Dave from Alberta says, I've reused Kim's packaging a couple of times. That's what I want you to do. I totally want you to reuse it. So now I've got this in. We're going to pretend that this is fine and secure the way it is. I would definitely put some paper around this before it went out. Now, do you see all this space right here? We're going to talk about that in a second. but I want to talk about another thing. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about the structure of the box and is it going to protect the items inside. If you have multiple items that are breakable that you're shipping out, heavy item on the bottom of the box, lighter items on the top. Don't put a lighter item first and then a heavier on top. You're going to crush that item. Also, like say I've done this before. I have shipped out items where some of the items are really delicate and other of the items are heavy and clunky. If think about how boxes go like this, right? So what's up becomes down, what's down becomes up, is make sure that if there are delicate items in the same box with heavier items, second box. Put the delicate items in another box and make sure there's lots of paper or bubble wrap protecting that item and the box itself inside the box. So you want a box in a box in a box. That will protect your item a heck of a lot more from shifts because, again, you can say this end up all you want. That doesn't always happen, right? They're just trying to shove it all in so they can get it to the next destination. Make sure that when you're packaging, even if you're packaging books or comic books or cards, whatever it is, you want to protect it from getting damaged. So if you want to use envelopes to ship out ephemera, make sure that you have some cardboard or cardstock. You know what? How many of us have cereal boxes at home that we throw out, that we put in the recycling? You can cut those up and use those as the protected. There's lots of things around your house that you can use to protect it, to make sure that it's well protected. So as it ships, it's not going to bend and damage the items inside. So if you are going to use envelopes or poly mailers or all that, if you have stuff that could get damaged, even if you're shipping a Funko Pop or another collectible that's in a new in box, make sure that you're protecting that box. So the state of the box when they bought it is the state of the box when they unwrap it. That's really important because the value of a collectible like that, like a Funko Pop, part of the value of that collectible is the quality of the box. Now, this is the part of the show where I say you do you, boo, but here's what I have to say. Olive Jig in on Whatnot, we can use Canada Post or ChitChats. They do not currently have local pickup. But if you're shipping to the US, UPS does do pickup. Mia Vita says, I sell comic books. I get 4-foot flat cardboard at Costco. Brilliant. Yeah, that works great. So, here's this. I'm shipping this out Scripto. I didn't have, oh, I do, over here. I have a diaper box. It's full of stuff right now, but I have a diaper box. If I needed to, I would use that diaper box to ship out. Some people will say, I don't want to buy any vintage decor that comes in a diaper box. The diaper box is clean. This isn't a used diaper box. Nobody goes to the pharmacy and buys a box of used diapers. They're clean. A diaper box is not a dirty box in any way, shape, or form. In fact, probably a diaper box is cleaner than a lot of other boxes. Logos don't matter. What does matter is you cannot reuse in Canada. You cannot reuse alcohol, tobacco, or cannabis boxes. If the box was meant for alcohol, tobacco, or cannabis, you are not supposed to reuse those boxes. Have I done it? I did it once because I didn't realize, and so I sprayed it with don't do this. I sprayed it with Gorilla Glue and covered it in vintage baby shower wrap to cover it up so I could ship it out. And that was only because it had taken me so long to package up this darn box of like very delicate stuff. And I had perfectly arranged everything and everything was so secure. And I was like about to cry because I really just wanted to get this darn package out that I was like, no, it's not happening. I already had the label on. So I like cut out the part where the label was so that it was like surrounded. Yeah. And then I took it to a different post office down the road because the one post office said no. So I just went after I covered it up. Anyways, don't do that. So there's like a lot of people say, I'll go to the liquor store and get free boxes. No, because you can't mail with those boxes. You're not supposed to. Do people get away with it sometimes? Yes. But are they supposed to? No. Okay. So diaper boxes are fine. Whatever box is fine as long as it doesn't. So if it had hazardous material in it too, so say you went to the hardware store and they had some sort of like solvent or something and they have boxes that the solvent was in, I wouldn't recommend that. Because also all over the box it's going to have hazard stickers, like hazard writing all over it. You don't want that. Because then when you go to the post office, they're going to be like, this is hazardous material. I need the form for this, blah, blah, blah. You don't want that. So, but there are so many places you can get boxes, and ton of you are saying in the chat, and I love it, where you can get free boxes. If you go to my free resources, sorry, I'm going to pin this again. If you go to my free resources, I have stickers that you can use. I have stickers. Let me just see if I can pull it up. I have stickers that you can download and use. Um, that say, hang on, I'll show you. I have them in different designs. They say, "Don't judge me by my box. I am lovingly recycled." And the other, and there's the other one. So these are totally free. You can download them. They're designed for 2 by 2 inch thermal labels, but you can just use paper if you want to, and then cut them out. That just putting that on, I find kind of shuts down any complaints. If somebody wanted a fancy box for their stuff, like I get it. If you're selling luxury and I just paid $4,000 for a Chanel purse or $6,000 for a Chanel purse, which I wouldn't, but if I did, I probably would want a really nice box. But I would not be like, oh my God, I got in a diaper box. That's it. Like, no, I want what's inside. What's inside is what counts, right? Packaged nicely inside so when they open it up, and I will talk about that, how to make it an experience when they open up the package that immediately brings them joy. And so putting a sticker on that says, don't judge me by my box, I'm lovingly recycled, shows how much you care about the environment, which is in turn caring about all of us. And you can find boxes all over the place. You go to your hardware store, your convenience store, your grocery store, your health food store. Walmart has great boxes. Used Amazon boxes, your drugstore. Yeah, like there are so many places. Your neighbors. You can put like there's a lot of like free like free stuff groups, regional groups on Facebook. If you need packing material and if you want like use your clean bubble wrap and all that sort of stuff, all you need to do is just look that up. Just put that in. I'm a reseller and I'm looking for any packing material, boxes, that sort of thing. I need it to make sure that I'm recycling. I want to recycle in my business. You'll get a lot of people who will message you. Even on your street, like on this street, probably if I just went up and down and told all my neighbors that if they wouldn't mind saving me all their boxes, I would have more than enough boxes to last me a month every week, just from the number of times I see the Amazon truck come up and down this road. So you're going to find there's going to be lots of places where you can find boxes and other packing materials for free. One person that Leah and I met, Thrifting with ADHD, and I met, she works at a dealership and she was a reseller. And when cars come in, they have all these foam pads and stuff that they use to like cover the seats and cover different parts. And they have to take, whenever a new car comes in, they have to take that all out and they just throw it out. So going to a car dealership, you can get amazing foam that's perfect for protecting delicate items. There's all kinds of places. You'd be surprised at how much packing material is out there, even at your local convenience store, that they would be happy for you to take off their hands. Just ask nicely, don't interrupt them while they're dealing with a customer. Wait until it's quiet and then ask them, would it be possible, if you have any packing materials, could I use them? Do you have any boxes? You'd be amazed. People are very willing to help out. Blue Eyes asks, how do you determine the price for shipping? Blue Eyes, the price for shipping is determined by Whatnot system. Whatnot charges the customer for shipping based on your location and the customer's location. So you don't have to determine the price for shipping. You just need to know the weight. I talked about that earlier. It's the shipped weight. If you want, you can watch this again on YouTube at the Red Rooster CA. CA is in Canada. So I also have another free item. I did bring it, didn't I? Where the fork did I put it? I don't know why I prepare. Oh, there it is. It fell on the floor. That's why. I also have this free item that's in my free resources down below. I have one for summer and one for winter. So obviously it's winter. So this is the one that I'm using. It's a thermal shock label. You can download this for free. I didn't brand it. It doesn't have my branding on it. I'm not about that. It's not about me. It's about helping the community. So you can download that for free from my free resources. That the link is down below or in my bio or in the show notes. And this is great for anything that has glaze, paint, enamel, glass, because thermal shock can be a real problem, especially these temperatures right now. If they come home after work and their package is on it, your package to them is on their front porch, and they bring it inside and it's been sitting out there for a couple of hours and it's minus 19, and they bring it in and open it up right away, they can actually completely damage everything inside, even in jewelry. So my thermal shock labels are very helpful, and I put them on everything. And in the summer, I have a summer one because high heat, you have a box that's sitting in the sun and then you bring it into your air conditioned house and open it up right away. You can also damage items. So it's just a warning label because I think it's an extra piece of customer service that we can give that just takes a few seconds to slap the label on. I've created it for 4x6 labels on a thermal printer, but you can also just print them on a regular printer. Just print four pages per 8.5 by 11 sheet, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. You can just cut it up, and it's a little bit smaller than 4x6, but it will work. Okay. Resizing boxes and managing dimensional weight is the next part. So in dimensional weight matters in Canada. And what do I mean by dimensional weight? So a box like this that weighs this size box that weighs 6 pounds, let's say. This box weighs 6 pounds. It's smaller than this box that also weighs 6 pounds. This box is going to be a way higher price to ship than the little box, the smaller box. Why? Because dimensional weight is about how much volume. Volume matters. So a smaller box is actually cheaper. In fact, if the bigger box weighed 4 pounds and the smaller box weighed 6 pounds, the 4-pound box would still be more expensive because it's bigger. So in shipping, size matters in the opposite direction than the innuendo. Yes, bubble wrap envelopes are fine as long as the thing is going to arrive in one piece. Use whatever you want. Box, poly mailer, envelope, whatever it is that's going to protect it on its way home. Chinese grocery stores foam wrap over certain fruit. I grab those and put them over my glassware. I've wrapped in paper to give it extra protection. That's great. Just make sure you put some sort of paper, ideally like tissue paper, between the foam and your item. As again, that the plastic directly up against your painted or glazed item will can actually damage. The condensation gets in there. No matter what you do, no matter how dry you think it is, condensation gets in there and it can actually stick, especially worse in the summer. But wrap it in paper, then that's brilliant, Mia Vida. So the smaller the box, the lower the cost, or as I say, the smaller the box, the closer to God. Pack as small as safely possible. So in this case, with this example, as you can see, there's a big gap here. And so if I push it down, I'm going to push it down. There's a big gap, right, between the end of the item and the top of the box. Now, some people would just fill this up with filler, and then they would package it up. I would change the dimensions. So hang on. And I'm going to show you how to do this to make a box smaller. So we're going to say 3 inches. 3 inches. It's about, a smaller box is going to be cheaper. But as you can see by my custom shipping profile, which is not a smaller box, it's not actually cheaper. Where is my knife? Where did I put my knife? Love of all things holy. Love, can you bring me a steak knife, please? If you can hear me. Thank you, dear. My husband's the best. Thank you. Okay. So hang on. I'm gonna take this out of here. So we're gonna make this 3 centimeters shorter than it currently is. So how do you do that? 3 centimeters, 3 inches. We're gonna make this 3 inches shorter. So you take all of your flaps and you bring them out. Obviously, you would do that anyways. And then you measure around 3 inches. You can use a pen. You can use a ruler. There are actually box resizing tools that you can purchase. And I do have one. Do I know where it is? No. But do I use this technique most of the time? Yes. So you want to mark down. You've already measured, so you know. You want to mark it down 3 inches. So I'm going to go to the 4 corners and I'm going to mark down 3 inches. And I'm also going to mark down 3 inches in the middle of each side. Sorry. Woo! 3 inches, 3 inches. And again, ideally you want to use a ruler to do this, but ain't nobody got time for that today, so we're doing it this way. Yeah, almost done. Hang on. All 4 sides. All 4 corners. 3 inches. And in the middle. Okay. And then, oh, what did Nat say? Sorry. Oops. I'm announcing nothing. I got a parcel from one of the sellers on here. Postman left it. Box was wet. Seller should have put it inside a plastic bag first. That is a very good point. Yeah. Think about our weather. Think about the possibilities of it accidentally being dropped in a puddle. So yeah, if it's something that can get damaged, I like to make it as secure as possible. So a poly mailer is great, especially like clothes. Poly mailers are easy to use. They're flexible. And you want to do as much protection as possible. You cannot avoid every mishap that can happen to a package, but you can definitely get rid of some of the risk. Okay, so I've marked it all around, all 4 corners. So what I'm going to do first is, scissors, they're over there. So you take your knife and you're going to score. You're just going to score. You're not going to cut all the way through. You're going to score. Hi guys, bye. You're going to score all the way around. You have your markings. Now I'm not doing a perfect job on this because I'm doing it quickly. Okay, you just want to score it so that, can you see that? I'm just scoring it. And it's not a straight line. We're just going to ignore the fact that it's not a straight line. It'll still work even if it's not a straight line. Make it as straight as you can. I could never be fully straight, so I never really do it straight. I'm not straight enough to make straight lines. Okay. All right. So you've scored it all the way around. Now, hang on a second. BRB. Don't fall. Don't trip. I forgot this. Okay. Then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut down to that 3-inch mark. All the way down in all 4 corners to that 3-inch mark. Ooh. And once you get used to doing this way, you can also do it sideways too. You'll learn how to do that as you go. But I'm not going to teach that today. I'm going to teach the simple. The simple. All right, now ready? Ready for the magic? I'll have to cut that flap off. Bam! Done. It is now 3 inches shorter than it was before. Bam! with no tools other than a pen, a steak knife. This one's dirty. And scissors. That's all you need. I use a steak knife. You could use the scissors too. You could use the scissors, but I like the steak knife. But you could just use a pen and scissors as well. Why do I say scissors? Because that's what my father said growing up. So I have to talk like a child because that's what my dad always said: is hand me the scissors. So I would cut these flaps off, obviously, because they're of no use to us. But there you go. So whenever you think, I don't have the right box size, oh my God, what am I going to do? Take a big box and make it into a small box. You can take one big box and make it into like 4 different boxes if you want to. But just take a bigger box and then cut it down. So, oh yeah. And I'm looking at this and I'm realizing that this shouldn't be used for shipping anyways. So I'm glad I used it to cut up, because it probably had, since it had lighters in it, it's probably not such a good idea. Flame lighters. So I wouldn't use this for shipping anyways. But you get the idea. Just like that. Pen, scissors, and if you can, steak knife. But pen and scissors is all you really need. And measuring tape. So you can measure all the way around. So again, it's just measure, score, fold, and then you're going to reinforce it. You're going to tape it all up. And that's all there is to it. You can even, I would even cut off these extra flaps, all 4 flaps, because that's extra weight too. As soon as you take all this weight off, you're going to be reducing by probably 3 or 4 ounces less. So this is actually going to weigh less too. Not only is it going to be smaller, but it's going to weigh slightly less. So there you go. Dimensional weight. Smaller is better when you're shipping. The smaller the box, the higher to God. Sorry, I just have to adjust to you. You guys keep falling. Okay. Now, the little extras to put into your box for shipping. The little things that you can do to make your package an experience, so that when they open it up, there's something in there that also brings them joy. Not just the item that you sent them, but other little things that you can add. First and foremost, I am team packing slip. Whatnot no longer requires that you add a packing slip in, but I'm telling you that a packing slip is an important part of the customer service, especially since for a lot of us who sell on Whatnot, we are selling to resellers and they want to remember what they spent. And it's going to be so much easier for them to look through and see how much did they spend on each one of those items. And that'll bring them more joy, especially if they got a great deal. That'll bring them even more joy, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, look, I got such a great bargain on this. Look what it is. It's so cute. Put in, I'm team packing slip. It is not a requirement anymore. When I first started in Whatnot almost 3 years ago, it was a requirement to add a packing slip. It is no longer a requirement. Team packing slip. Megan Spinberica says, I always include it. I wish it showed total cost buyer paid though. I mean, it doesn't show you the total, but it shows you the price that they paid for each item. So they are working. I have heard from Whatnot that they are working on a redesign for packing slips that should be coming out soon. It's supposedly thebomb.com. So I'm looking forward to seeing that when it comes out. I don't know when, but they are working. They know that they should update the packing slip and they're working on it. So please note that. Hey, Aunt Billy, how are you? Okay, so extras that you can put in. First, the easiest thing to do is to write a little note of thanks, even a short one. Mine are short now. I'm rushing. Well, not rushing, but I am definitely trying to get my packages out as quickly as possible whenever I can. So I don't write a long letter like I used to. It's up to you. Again, you do you, boo. But even just writing thank you is more than a lot of people do. And you don't even need to have special thank you paper. I did grab some. Where the fork did I put half the stuff that I grabbed to show you guys? I thrifted these. You can get them at the dollar store, but I thrifted these. You can just use pretty paper, or the packing slip has space. Most of the time, I just write on the packing slip. Where there's some open space, I will write, thank you so much for your purchase. I really appreciate you, or whatever it is that I felt like writing at the time. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's clever. Most of the time it's not. It's just probably pretty simple. Angie says, I was including a small surprise little bag with candy, stickers, and a tiny item. That's something that you can do. just remember that a lot of people are buying the stuff inside, and so those little extras are a sweet thing to do. And again, you do you. Um, but to be honest, if I get something like that, I used to get a lot of bracelets. Like bracelets was the thing when I first started on Whatnot. Everyone was putting bracelets in, and it's like I don't wear bracelets, so I just made a pile of bracelets and then started shoving those bracelets into other people's packages. And probably there's like some bracelets that are still traveling around, like the traveling handcuffs, all around Whatnot, because we're all just throwing them back into each other's boxes. I used to do that. I don't anymore. I used to have a sticker, a coupon, coupon sticker. So I created these, and most of these don't work anymore because, anyways. But I created these little. They say "Scratch me" coupon code from the Red Rooster for your next purchase from on Whatnot, and I got this stuff, these little scratch stickers. They're like scratch off. They're scratch off stickers. I got these at auction, but you can buy them on like the Big A and stuff. And then I would put them on there. And this is just a quick thing that you can do. You don't have to do scratch off stickers. It was just an added bit of fun that I did. And I gave those in every single order. You got a coupon from me. I don't do that now because of my rewards club is so generous that I know that as soon as they've made a purchase, they've got a whole bunch of coupons available to them. So I don't do that anymore. Every once in a while, I might send a coupon code to somebody, but I don't do that anymore. But coupon codes are a great way of attracting buyers back to your shows. So especially if you don't have rewards club yet, I highly recommend putting a coupon code in. You can just print it off on a piece of paper. You don't need to be as fancy as a scratch off thing and everything. It just, the using the scratch off was an extra little thing that added to the interest um of my packages when people got them. It was just another little fun little thing, right? In hindsight, I would probably do it with like how much, like the coupon code and how much they got, so they could see, oh, it's 30% off. Or I just put the words on there instead of actually saying what it was. So in hindsight, I would say, here's, I don't know, which is this one, Argive. Here's Argive, and that's 10% off your next purchase. A business card, if you do have a business card with like your Instagram and that sort of thing, that's great to sort of get them involved in your community on Instagram and get to follow you, and that way you're also getting an opportunity to market them your next shows, your upcoming shows, and your amazing items. I usually put that in. I usually write a thank you note now, and I put in the packing slip, and I make sure to put in one of my business cards. And I do have a Red Rooster sticker. So if you buy from me, you always get a Red Rooster sticker. Debbie says, sometimes it's just too much. All these extras cost. I'm here to supplement my retirement. Too many expenses can chase a seller away. Yeah. So you don't like just doing a written thank you on the packing slip is enough of an extra. If you can't afford to do all these other fancy things, you do not need to. You can just, with a pen, all you need is the packing slip and a pen, and just write thank you. Thank you so much for your purchase. I appreciate you. Heart, Kim. You are awesome. Hope you enjoy these amazing items. Heart, Kim. That's all you need. You don't have to put, you do not, if you do not want to or cannot afford to at this time, you do not have to bribe your customers with extra little things in their package. It's not necessary. Okay. And there's lots of great examples of sellers who do really great, like opening, like it's like one of the things that I recommend is when you finish the top of the package. So think of yourself as the buyer opening the box. Okay. So when you get the item in there, the item goes in. I made it too small. The item goes in, and then I usually put a nicely folded, or fairly nice, relatively nicely folded. Oh, God. I take a nicely folded piece of paper and I usually place that on top. So when they open up the box, the first thing that they see when they open up the box is a nicely folded piece of paper on top, my card, and my sticker, which again, you don't have to do those things, and the packing slip all goes on top. And then so that when they open the box, that's the first thing they see. So always think about that. When you're packaging stuff up, think about the experience of your buyer. What are they going to feel when they open up the box for the first time? What are they going to see first? I like to have my thank you note and my little cards and stuff right on the top. So that's the first thing. Or maybe it's like under one more piece of paper, but it's always like the first impression that I want to give when they open up the box. I know that what they really want is the stuff inside. I know that, but I'm adding just a little bit of extra customer service to the top. Okay, so you've packaged up your box properly. You've made sure that you've got your little thank you note, and hopefully you want to put a packing slip in. Hopefully you're on team packing slip, and you're ready now to. Well, you haven't done the packing slip yet because you have to weigh and measure. So we weigh the box as it's ready to ship, nearly ready to ship. So we weigh the box, we measure the box, we put that information into the shipment section at seller.whatnot.com. Using that there's a little icon that looks like a pen. You click on that, or a pencil, depending on how you see it. And then you're going to make the adjustments and save it, generate your label. And then you can put you're going to print your packing slip, put that in, tape it up nice and secure. Make sure that you tape up so that it can't just pop open at any moment. And accuracy saves money later. You don't want to end up with your buyer, for one, you don't want to end up at the post office and them reject your package because it's heavier than what the label says. You don't want them to reject it because it's bigger than what the label says. They don't mind if it's lighter or smaller necessarily, but they care if it's too big or too heavy. Remember that you get 5 free shipping adjustments per week to use up. They're free. Whatnot covers the cost. So that gives you an opportunity to learn when you're a newer seller. So now it's time. You've got your label on, you put your label on, you've securely taped it, it's all ready to go. What's next? It's drop off time. So make sure that you drop off on time within a day, ideally the same day or next day. Drop off at your local post office or your ChitChats location, depending on what you've chosen. And there is now, for some sellers, not all sellers in Canada yet, but some sellers in Canada have an in-app scanner. And basically what it does is it's gonna ask you to do that. So it's gonna say scan your item. Like you have one, it's gonna say one item needs label or whatever. Let's see if I can see on I don't have an item that needs a label. Minimize show. Oh, I'm all caught up. That's why. I'm all caught up. So if I wasn't caught up, it would be right here in today's task. Kylie, afternoon archives. Hello. Hi, Brooke. How are you? Thank you so much for the raid. Oh my gosh, Kylie. Thank you. Afternoon archives. I'm getting used to that. It's only been how many years knowing you? Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, friends. How are you? Welcome in. We are talking shipping. We've gotten as far as we're about to drop off our package at the post office or the ChitChats location. It's so good to see you. Feel free to share your shows. Kylie, you're a mod, so feel free to make an announcement about when your next show is. Thank you so much for choosing me. You could have chosen from thousands of shows, and you chose me, and I'm super honored, and I love you. And it's your birthday. Your birthday's coming. So excited. I get to go online shopping. Drop off. So you want to drop off in time. Use the in-app scanner. Oh, thank you, Vintiquity. Let me mod you as well. Use the in-app scanner. You'll see it up here. It'll say today's tasks. You just click on that. It'll say scan and confirm. It's like you're literally taking a picture of the package is what it's doing. Um, my birthday show is tomorrow. Yay! Kylie's birthday show is tomorrow. 31 trade cards at $1 star. Amazing ephemera. If you love ephemera, you need to be following Afternoon Archives. It's going to be amazing stuff. So use the in-app scanner if you have that available to you. It will eventually be available to all Canadian sellers. Right now, it's not. It's not, but it's coming. It's coming. I've got it now. Prompt shipping means fewer issues down the road and happier customers. Do as I say, not as I do. Here's one thing I want you to think about when you're scheduling your shows, a scheduling reality I want you to think about. Consider your own schedule when you book shows. It's not just about, I'm going to have to do 3 hours or 2 hours or half an hour or 1 hour show on Friday night on whatnot. It's, I'm going to have to ship the next day or that day. So make sure that you add that time into your schedule and set that aside to actually do the shipping. Lots of items to ship is a good problem to have, but if you're not prepared and don't have that time available to you because you kind of slid in a show in the midst of your life and you know that you're not going to be able to get to shipping for 2 or 3 days, it might not be such a great idea to pop up if you don't think you're going to be able to ship in a relatively good amount of time. 2-3 days, I'd say, is the max that you should aim for. Remember, the longer your ship times, if your average ship time is higher, you're likely not going to be discovered as much by viewers than if you had a shorter ship time. Shorter ship times are appreciated by whatnot. Now, the last thing, not the last thing, but the next to last thing that I want to talk about is weekly bundling that is rolling out in Canada. It is very, very new. There's a very few number of sellers, including myself, who have weekly bundling. It's not available for US buyers yet. It is available for Canadian buyers. And there's a whole list: Germany, Austria, Canada, Japan, I want to say Hong Kong for some reason. Anyways, there's a list, but US is not on there. So your US buyers can't use weekly, and it's not available for most sellers in Canada. It's in a very small beta right now. I will be testing it out. So I will let you know how it goes as I go along. I'm going to be doing more selling next week to test it out. So I will let you know, and we'll see how many people are actually buyers are interested in weekly bundling. It will be interesting to see. It's going to take time to educate buyers on this because not every show has it on offer yet. And almost the last, shipping to the United States. If you're a Canadian seller and you sell to an American customer, shipping will go automatically by UPS, United Postal Service, the brown trucks. The brown trucks are going to take your package to the United States. It is important to note that the shipping amount that your buyer gets charged, your US buyer gets charged in a show, is just for the cost of UPS delivering it to their door, not the customs duties, taxes, and tariffs, as well as the customs clearance fee. UPS charges a customs clearance fee for all packages going through because it's not, the duties are paid by the buyer, not in advance by the seller. So you will have to enter the country of origin for each item. And ideally, it's been in a pre-listed show, so there's more information available, so the package gets through their customs broker faster, but your buyer will receive a bill on the other end, and that's important to note. So if you are a Canadian seller and you suddenly have a new US buyer who is not familiar with this, make sure to message them before you go through the whole process of packing everything up to ship, and say, I thank you so much for your order. That's the important part to start with. Thank you so much for your order. I just wanted to confirm before I ship that you are aware of and okay with the fact that UPS will be charging you additional fees for customs clearance, taxes, tariffs, and duties. Because the way that Whatnot words it, hi Eastender, it does add up. It does add up, artsy fartsy. So in some cases, it's only like $10 plus $2. So it's $12 extra. The lowest so far that we've heard for the customs clearance fee is $10 US. The highest was $29 US. Um, Now, then on top of that is the government charges. So, for example, I sent down a giveaway, not realizing. So, Canadians don't do international giveaways right now. I sent down the giveaway. A giveaway still needs to go through customs clearance, even though it's a gift. It's a business to consumer gift. Therefore, it is not considered a gift that is um, exempt from customs duties and tariffs. So it still has to go through customs clearance. And they were charged $29 US, which they rejected. And it was just a bottle of hot sauce. And the bottle of hot sauce was worth $15 Canadian. It's now somewhere in the United States, two of them. Um, and it was $24 for the customs clearance fee, and then the rest of it was the government charges. So it was about it was about $3, so 25, 30%. 25-30% of the value of the item was the government's charges, because again, de minimis exemption is gone. And so, yeah, don't do international giveaways right now. But you can use, with the good news about using UPS is that the packages arrive quickly to your US customer, and and UPS drop-off locations are all over the place. You'd be surprised. I was amazed. My local convenience store, which is right across the street from my local post office, which is like a kilometer away from me, is a drop-off location. There are a lot more UPS drop-off locations than you'd ever imagine. And they also do pick up at your home or business. So that is an option too, if you have a lot of US customers. But if you're if you're concerned, I just recommend you message your customer before you ship out rather than having any upset. It's better customer service to warn your customer. Just make sure that they're aware. Don't say, and the important thing is to say, if you are not comfortable with this, please feel free to request a cancellation and I will approve it. Do not cancel it. If they say, yeah, cancel it, no, you have to ask them to cancel it on your behalf, on their behalf, on their own behalf. Um, you want to ask them to do that, because otherwise it dings on you. It's a negative towards your trust and safety if you ask them to do it. All right, let me just scroll up here. What did I miss? Once you click as a buyer on one show, it will be by default on for the next seller who has weekly bundling also. Yeah, I think they need to fix that. To be honest, I think some people might not want it for everybody. Rocket sales, what's up? Debbie like this says, if you live in a town or city, not in the country. I mean, I guess I live in a village. But I guess I'm not too far out. I'm not in the middle of BF nowhere, so they do pickup. You can just go to ups.com to find out if they do pickup. But I'm lucky. Like, I didn't think in my little tiny village that there would be a UPS drop-off location and I'd have to drive 15 minutes to Havelock or Campbellford, but I was wrong. Artsy fartsy Frida says on that note, do you know if Canada's accepting asylum seekers from the US? I heard a couple of days ago they are turning them away. So the United States is still considered at this time to be what is the term? Anyways, it's like, so there's like an agreement where if the neighboring country is a safe country, if the neighboring country you're coming from is considered safe, and you try to come into Canada, then no, asylum from the United States is not that simple. If you want to, you can go to, let me find him. If you want to find out more information, let me just look him up so I can show you about how to move to Canada. You want to go to Todd Maffin, TODMAFFIN, Todd Maffin. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he has a very comprehensive guide to immigrating to Canada. If you are a healthcare professional in any capacity in the United States, he has an entire list. He has a huge and growing network of communities that will give you all the information you need about how to apply, what it's like living there, the whole 9 yards. He's created this huge program. Um, where are we? Here it is. It's called Healthcare Infusion. Um, so if you're an American healthcare worker, that Todd Maffin has information about that. But in general, Todd Maffin has information about moving to Canada from the US. And I know there are a lot of people thinking of it. So he has a lot of great information. You're welcome. UPS doesn't come up there at all. Oh, Debbie, I'm sorry. 40 minutes one way to closest UPS. That sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's all good. Okay, so wrap up. That's about it. Remember to make sure you have the right tools, you make right decisions, and then have the best execution possible, and shipping will be a breeze. I highly recommend that you set aside an area of your house that is for shipping. This is a do as I say, not as I do thing. That is dedicated to shipping, so that everything is where you need it to be when you need it, and you're not wandering around your house trying to find the pair of scissors, or the steak knife, or the tape, or the shrink wrap, or the stickers, or the pens. Oh my God. Why is it my house is the black hole of pens? I don't know. But have all your stuff in one spot. That is my recommendation. Any questions anybody has, or any questions that I've missed while I've been yammering on? I need a drink while you guys do that. Mm. Ooh, tart. Magnus Rodriguez, I want to thank everyone that came yesterday for our bookmark shows event. New Canadian sellers joined. Hope they're here today. Awesome. That is great. Okay. Last call to share your shows and ask your questions, and then we will find someone to raid into. I'm not going to backtrack. Go here. Raid. Let's see. Rebecca's Relics is on. That sounds good to me. She's got 5 people. Oh, she needs more people. Glass, linens, pottery, and art. Tomorrow is the Family Fashion and Accessories Raid Train, hosted by the wonderful Angie's This and That. So tune into that. Artsy Fartsy Frida says, I was in a show earlier this morning from Texas. She was offering bundling shipping for the whole weekend. Interesting. Currently, Whatnot is testing out in Canada weekly bundling, which I have, but it's not available to US customers, only available to Canadian and a bunch of other countries, but not to the US yet. Stamp sales tomorrow at 2:05 Pacific time. Yeah, she may be doing a restart show. Mia Vita's having a women's plus size show Monday and kids clothing on Friday. Thank you, Dave, so much. You are awesome. All right, let's go raid now. I love you guys. Oh, wait. Crazy Bead Lady is having my 1-year anniversary show at 8 p.m. tonight. Trivia and guessing games with prizes, selling vintage Valentine's ephemera, jewelry, and scarves. I love it. All right, let's go see. Reasonably Thrifty. I'll be running a show with my mom later today. If anyone is interested in Lululemon items, we'll post ASAP. I love it. I love you guys so much. Have a fabulous day. I will see you on Monday. I'm going to be selling stamp pickers in 10 minutes. Everyone check out Stamp Pickers in 10 minutes as well. And we're going to go into Rebecca's Relics and have some fun. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great day.